What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Girlapeutic video. It's your home of therapeutic girl talk. And we got a topic for y'all today.
We sure do.
And B is gonna bring it to y'all. What is it?
So I was scrolling on the gram and I saw this meme, and basically it was like, you can't sow hoe seeds and reap marriage benefits. Then it went on to say that you have to position your mind and your body for marriage, and you can't do that while sowing hoe seeds now. And I was like, okay, interesting. So how do y'all feel about that? Sowing hoe seeds.
I mean, what is it?
What is a hoe seed?
That was my initial thought, but I see where the meme was going.
I would say, okay, yes or no question. Do you agree with the post?
No.
Or the meme?
No.
Okay. Where do you think the meme was going then?
The meme was basically trying to say, and we're speaking from a Christian perspective here, you have to position your mind and your body, yes, to walk in marriage. And walking in marriage requires purity, it requires holiness, it requires sanctification. You have to be spiritually there to be prepared for marriage. What I don't agree with is the fact that just because you had a little loose back in the day, that's not going to change the fact that you're not going to get married, or that you can't get married, or any to the effect. That was my issue right there. And I think the meme didn't really portray the intent behind that post. So, what do y'all think?
Yeah, I think it kind of builds on the view that like marriage is a reward for good behavior and for, I guess, a level of perfection. And I mean, I don't think that that's true. I do think, and biblically, there is another level of favor, at least it says that for the men, that you gain. But yeah, I just don't think that we should look at it as like a reward. Like, if you want to be married, you bet not, So it's like you're not going to handcuff me to my past and like anything that I've done previously.
Because again, what do we have grace for? The Lord's not about to be like, well, you was a little loose back then, I ain't about to give you this nice man now. Or vice versa.
And I think the term hoe is relative. I personally hate when women call each other that, because it's about what you think a hoe is. It's
it's very subjective.
Yeah, because somebody may say you have one body count, oh, you a hoe. But somebody else may be like, girl, that's not bad. So
you underfit that.
You underfit that. Like,
it's a double standard as well, because men,
that's very true.
Men have cut up, and it's almost praised in some aspects if a man, loose as a goose.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like, still, that's what I was, and that's what I did. Like,
not who I am.
Not who I am.
You in my business.
So are you saying, do you think the meme is saying, like, you can't actively be doing those things? Because, I mean, I guess, duh. And
Exactly.
If that's where you're going.
Because if you're walking in repentance, or if you're striving to be holy or pure, what have you, you're not going to have that desire to do that to begin with.
Right.
So really, it's kind of like an underlying, deep down, if your heart is positioned.
Right.
But you're not going to do that. Whether or not I did that before that is none of nobody's business, because I'm forgiven.
Right. It's under grace. I don't think that's...
We good, as far as I'm concerned. You need to stay out my business.
Yeah. And even to your point earlier about basically making it seem like if you're not a hoe, then your reward is you get a husband. It's a lot of hoes that's out there married. Okay.
30 plus years, okay?
Got kids, a family, a
Nice house,
company together.
Range Rovers, Mercedes.
Oh my
gosh.
So it's like, I mean, really, what are you saying? Because that's really, your post isn't true.
It's not.
There's a lot of folks sowing hoe seeds. And they got the ring, but I ain't sowing those seeds, and I'm single as ever.
I think the point of
You can't.
being pure was completely taken out of context
Yes.
with that particular post. And we have to do better just collectively as a body of Christ to make sure that we're saying what God said. Okay? Because that's not what he said.
And I think the purity culture, as we mentioned prior, it does have some toxic areas and
Absolutely.
standards and like viewpoints and projections and all these other things. And I think one key factor is that you're only pure, or only can be pure like if you're a virgin, or you got the one where, you know, like you can only be pure, like purity stops while you're single or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, in every phase of life, you need purity. Like, you need to be pure. You need to be pure in thought. You need to be pure in action and all these other things, even when you're married.
Yeah.
So it's not like my journey with purity just stops once I'm married, or once I have sex and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, I'm not pure no more.
Child, yes, I am, if I'm under covenant.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to live. You live a life of purity in a sense. So it's just who you are. It's really just going through that process and being like submitted to God. That's what that ultimately is.
And please stress the word process, because it's not overnight.
It's not.
That's a lifelong journey that you're on with the Lord.
It's a daily commitment.
A daily commitment, daily intention. It's a process.
Right.
And I think too, we have to stress that.
Yeah, that it is a process.
That it is a process. And know the difference between actually actively being in it and, let's say you do mess up one time. Okay. There's still there's still grace. Is your heart positioned to not want to go back there? Is it going to continue to get less and less and less? You know, that's the process I think that we're looking for. And I think a lot of times purity culture also chastises those who maybe do still struggle with certain things and don't really know how to navigate with that, because they're expected to, oh, I've got to be done, and or I can't even walk
or
that
not
way.
even have like
Thoughts,
not even have
nothing.
urges,
Which is
Exactly.
not normal.
They don't even be a human being.
Exactly.
And that's the thing about purity culture is,
why they at home
listen, you're not gonna tell
when you
me.
judging me.
Okay, you're not gonna tell me not to kiss my man. You're not gonna tell me not to hold his hand.
Oh,
You're not
You're not
gonna do
about to tell me that
that.
because you're in my business. Just because you struggle with that.
And that'll make you pure. Just because you went 10 years and y'all didn't touch, hug, and
you didn't look his way.
you didn't look his way, that does not make you pure.
It's true, because
That makes you look like, hold on, how you do? So you telling me you got this fine man sitting across you ain't
And you
thinking
ain't
about
thought
this?
nothing.
You ain't thought about
You lying to
this?
me. You a lie.
Honey, listen.
I cannot breathe right now.
Come out of you.
Lose that, bro. Ain't no way. Listen.
You know what? And
Ain't no
here's the thing.
That's not normal.
If that's something that you have done, okay, if that's something that someone has done,
God bless.
and that has worked for you,
God bless.
that
'Cause
worked
I've
for
tried.
you.
That's amazing for you.
That
I
worked
love
for
that
you.
for you.
What I'm saying is,
It's not for me.
there are definitely, okay,
Sorry.
there are definitely gateways
Yes.
to,
I agree.
like, I mean, a gateway
That's
is to
gonna
sex,
take you
right? That's
further
gonna take you
than-
further.
Yes.
But
to
you have
where
to
we
know
go.
that about yourself.
Know that
You
about
have to.
yourself.
You have to be honest with where you are, who you are, how you feel, and you already know what triggers you. You know what I'm saying? So if you know what triggers you, then
Know what works
then you
for
need
you.
to stay away from it.
Yes.
So if you gotta be to that level, be to that level. But if you are at that level, I don't think it's necessarily fair to project that on other people.
So yes, and act like that's
Exactly.
I'm gonna hold
normal.
my
It's
man's
not.
hand. You know, like
I'm
we
gonna
gonna-
hold that man's hand.
We gonna kiss.
I'm gonna kiss that
Okay, we
man's
gonna
lips.
kiss.
The Lord kiss.
we gonna
The Lord has blessed me with that fruit of self-control.
Listen.
So we gonna be blessed in that area.
But that is what works for that person. I think that
Exactly.
no one should project their own
You shouldn't feel forced to do
You
that.
should.
levels on. Yeah, and
Don't be
again,
doing
what
that
we're
to me.
saying is, you know what's gonna take you over the ledge.
You know.
Don't do that.
Right.
And if that's what leads to it, if you are up here making out, well, you don't need to.
Then you
be
don't even
making
make it out.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That may not be.
Yeah.
Y'all don't need
because
to do
that may
that
not
flippy
be
chill.
your
Y'all,
You know what
y'all
I'm
need to be
saying?
in the park walking. And
Right. If
Y'all
you
need to
need
go
to
on
know
group dates.
for movie nights, right? You need another couple with
Need
you.
another couple.
Then do that. Be
And that couple need to stay in the room.
Right.
At all times.
Can't fall asleep.
Can't fall asleep. Can't give me a blanket. You need to know.
It starts with you.
It starts with you.
And your man.
It starts with
You
being
need to
real
know.
with yourself.
Be real
You
with
got
Have
to.
yourself.
some money. Because
Yes.
that's not right if you over here suppressing things.
But
that you ain't got no
purity,
business
with
suppressed.
purity
And
culture,
even with
though,
comparison, you can't compare
you
your
can't compare. And with
No.
purity culture, sometimes it's just like
Because I'm telling I'm not doing
people
that.
really have have desires, and those desires are natural. And I think the moment that you have set yourself to that, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. When it is time, when you are married and it is time, it's hard to turn your mind off from that
Yes.
because you're approaching it as this is bad. This is, like your mind has been programmed.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding, even along the way, that it's a beautiful thing. It's supposed to happen.
It's
God
supposed
created
to happen.
It's right, but it's like
When you're married.
right
Exactly.
at the right time.
Yeah.
So I think to me, that's another big factor just with purity culture, is just knowing that it just doesn't stop when you're, when you're dating or, after you've had sex. It keeps on going. And no matter where you are, whether you're a virgin or not, it's about your mind. Like,
Exactly.
and your heart. If
Don't
it's
forget
not
about
pure,
the purpose.
then you really ain't better than nobody else.
Exactly. Don't forget about that.
And you're not better than anybody else regardless.
Regardless,
Because God
right.
is keeping you.
Right.
If you're not out here, it's because God is keeping you. Because I don't know nobody who doesn't think about those things.
Right.
Because it's normal. You can't take credit for the fact that you aren't sowing whole seeds. It's literally God keeping you from going over. Or if you're a virgin, it's the fact that God has kept you from doing the things that our minds sometimes go. Because I don't know nobody who don't at least think about it. But if you don't actually act on it, that's because God has kept you. So you can't even take credit for the fact that you are not sowing whole seeds.
Yeah, listen, because even from my own experience, I always say I was one by accident.
Honey.
It wasn't supposed to be. To me, it wasn't supposed to be that. If I would have had my
God's
own way,
grace.
it wouldn't have been that way. But it was
God's keeping power.
God's keeping power and really changing my mind about it and making me look at it differently. But
I'm going to speak on from somebody who was sowing hope seeds. And just literally just a change of perspective, my heart posture of what I was on to where I am now. It wasn't nothing but the Lord. Because at the end of the day, we are still human. We have those thoughts, we have those desires, we struggle with that. And even now in my walk now, what I would be lying to say if I didn't have certain thoughts and stuff. But because of His strength, His grace, I'm able to sit here and be like, okay, we could.
Let me not
after
take
someone
this
hope
person.
seeds.
and it don't. But that's what I'm saying. That's why it's not like marriage is not the reward, because you can have sexual immorality, single or married.
Period.
Hello.
Period. There's so many leaders, spiritual leaders, who struggle with that within their marriage.
And it's not just cheating. It could be where your mind is. It could be masturbation. It could be pornography.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's like just because you're not out here acting on it don't mean that you're not engaging it in some way or form. So for people to talk about the whole seed thing, to me it really doesn't make sense, because you could be married and have whole seeds.
Doesn't
It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
And it is literally just God keeping us. I mean, listen, child, if God didn't keep Deja, let me tell you.
What?
Nobody. Like
Nobody.
that's nobody.
Because it's normal to have those thoughts. It's normal to have those urges, because God created us. He knew, okay, in order for them to be fruitful, they're going to have to do this. So obviously He's going to give us the desire for a man. Because that's normal. That's natural. The only issue is when, okay, if I'm not married and I start acting on those desires, then it becomes an issue. But other than that, child, listen.
And it gets harder because as we continue to progress in a fallen world, let's not take away from the fact that that's where we're living. It's going to get harder, until Jesus decides to be like, all right, I'm tired of this. Let me come get my people. We have to be mindful of that, because even from 10 years ago, the amount of things that are in our forefront so easily now, so readily available, sometimes unsolicited, we just always have to be on guard, because that one time you see something, you could be on social media, you minding your business, and something will pop up, take you back.
Exactly.
And
you didn't want to go there.
You didn't want to go there. We have to be mindful and watchful. and really trust that God is going to give us the strength to get through that 1 week moment, because it only takes a second.
That's it.
It only takes a second, but again, it's not us. It's all through Him, and I think that's the importance right there. No matter what you did in your past, which is very important too, because someone who may have came across that post, right? That is right in the middle of their struggle. Could have saw that and got discouraged. And now they back to square one, and they may go back and do, what they wanted to do, because they're like, well, what's the point? Like, we gotta do better.
We have to do better. And one of the things we've talked about was it being a process too. Because it is a process. Because at the end of the day, I think people say, okay, purity means I'm perfect. That means I don't mess up. That means I've never done this. I've never done. But that's not the case. When the Bible talks about perfection, we're talking about maturing. So at the end of the day, if before I got saved, I was out here sleeping with 10, 15,000, doing whatever. Even if I wasn't sleeping with nobody, if I was watching pornography. But now that I'm saved, I'm not doing those things. I'm maturing. I'm perfecting in that way.
That's good.
So I think sometimes when that's kind of how it can be toxic, is because I think I have to be perfect. But God is asking for you to grow, to mature. When you saw those things a year ago, it took you somewhere. Exactly. When you see it now, it's like, oh man, it's growth.
Walk
it's a process.
in holiness, walk in your growth. Purity is holiness, not perfection. I think that's what we gather from that.
You have to grow. We go from faith to faith, right? To grow.
If y'all are in the comments and you got something to add to this, if you agree with those sentiments about sowing whole seeds and not reaping a marital plant, then let us know. Tell us how you feel. Leave us a like, a comment. Was it share?
Subscribe,
honey. Do all those good things.
Get this relatability.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And just, again, hit us up in the comments and just let us know how you feel about this, or if there's anything else you want us to talk about. So, I think
Drop
that's it.
in the comment section.
Okay. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Bye.